Good evening, guys. Hello, what's happening? How's everybody? 2 nights in a row. I never paint 2 nights in a row. Well, I am tonight. You can tell there's a GT this weekend that I need to be ready. Familiar Terminators, yes. I'm bouncing between a few models that are half painted for this tournament. Just want to try and give the few models that I'm working on a little bit more here and there, so that, like, I mean, technically they've got enough colours on them, but try and do a little bit more. The mini will be in focus as soon as I pick it up, I think, right? Good evening, James. How you doing? There's been rumours today just of like new Terminators going to be in the new 10th edition box set. I don't know. I think that'd be pretty crazy actually. They bring Terminators into the 10th edition, right? Are these guys magnetized? No, these are ancient guys. I bought 2 squads of the Blood Angels Terminators. You know, the ones that you get with the actual Blood Angels Terminator pieces. So I bought 2 squads of them. I made 1 squad already with 3 Thunder Hammers and 2 Lightning Claws. And now these are like the second part. So basically I got 5 of each, right? 5 with double Lightning Claws and 5 with Thunder Hammers. These guys have honestly been sat in a drawer for the best part. Like, one of the squads is like 15 years old. One of the squads is not so old. One of the squads is like just 5 years old or something. But it's more like I'm just, you know. Sometimes I magnetize. I feel like every time I don't magnetize, it usually comes back and kicks me in the butt. But with the Terminators, my thought on them right now is they're actually better if you mix the squad. And sometimes I would recommend you do like 3 Lightning Claws and 2 Thunder Hammers, but for this event I'm doing 4 Thunder Hammers and Storm Shields and 1. The Sergeant's running a Lightning Claw and he's also running a Master-crafted Lightning Claw. Just because I'm running Quake Bolt, so I'll probably be able to hit on 2s a bunch of times, so if you've got a Master-crafted Lightning Claw hitting on 2s, I think that's pretty good. 10,001 Games posted all my family photos of my Death Company Blood Angels Orc successors in the Discord. I did see some of those the other day, dude. Pretty crazy, actually. I think it's very cool the amount of effort you've gone to convert the Orcs into Blood Angels. It's definitely going to be a unique army. Not many people will have something similar, huh? Unique is cool, though. I like having unique stuff. If they do release a new set of Terminators, I really do want to just buy a box of the Blood Angels ones so that we can customize them and make them a little bit more unique and different from the standard. Like, they release a cool new set of Terminators, I'm going to want to buy the new box for sure. Or, sorry, I'm going to want to buy the new box, but I'm going to want to buy a box of the Blood Angels Terminators as well, just so I have options. I like options. I like these Blood Angels Terminators, though. I think they're pretty... I bought some custom Storm Shields for some of them as well, just to give me a bit of variance. Joseph's not here for the long haul. Good evening, Joseph. Evening, Reziel. Evening, Kronos saying. How you guys doing? Kronos saying might kit bash some of those heavy intercessors into Terminators. That could be quite cool, actually. I wonder how the arms would look, because I don't know. I think converting the arms might be the trickiest part, right? Because the arms were probably attached to the guns, and they're probably slightly longer arms, heavy intercessor arms. But they might not look too bad if you use Terminator arms. They might just swap out. You might not notice it unless you point it out to people. These are the best looking Terminators, excluding the Space Hulk ones. They are cool looking Terminators, aren't they? I've never owned the Space Hulk box set myself, so I don't have like a real affinity to the Space Hulk. I have Space Crusade. What are we going to do to make the Brutalis more Blood Angels? That's a good question. It's a very good question. I don't know if I have the answer actually. What are you guys doing to make the Brutalis more Blood Angels? On my on one of my Redemptor Dreadnoughts, I used some Horus Heresy transfers, but I don't. And I think on one of my Redemptors, I maybe stuck some sort of decal on top of it, like the top of a Sanguinary Guard banner, kind of like something like this model has, to try and give it a bit of Blood Angel's personality. But I hadn't really, excuse me, hadn't really thought about the Brutalis. Good evening, Sang. How you doing? Valderin is Space Hulk on sprue since 2014. I have. Not that we want to make this a competition, but I guess if you've got Space Hulk on sprue from 2014, I better make it a competition. I have Space Crusade from, was it 1994, in the Cellophane. So I mean, let's fight Space Crusade against Space Hulk. I mean, possibly I would actually trade the Space Crusade for that Space Hulk, because that Space Hulk is pretty cool. But Space Crusade in the Cellophane, I feel like, is like the golden ticket, right? Like no one's got that. You could use a faceplate of a Death Company Dreadnought potentially. That's interesting actually, because I think I've got a couple of those Blood Angel Dreadnoughts. I actually was looking for a Melta-Gun tonight, because if my army's going to be WYSIWYG, I need to find a Melta-Gun for this tournament. So I was like looking for a Melta-Gun, and I definitely found some of those, what you call them, faceplates from like the Furioso / Librarian / Death Company box. So I probably have a spare Death Company faceplate for sure. Jim says he has a belly button. Alright Jim, you win. Cool. I haven't decided what I'm doing with that Space Crusade in the Cellophane. Like I want to probably open it and make a video, but like my painting videos don't get very many views. I guess I'm not really established as a painter within the scene, so I feel like it would be a wasted video to open it. So I've had it for about a year at this point, honestly, maybe. I don't know what I'm doing with it though. I have no idea. I was planning to make a Contemptor from the Age of Darkness from using my Librarian Dreadnought. Yeah, I mean, I'll have to see. If I figure out something cool with the Brutalis, maybe I'll make a video on it and tell you guys what I'm thinking, because it would be nice to have the Brutalis a little bit more, like, pushed towards Blood Angels or something. I mean, it should have probably come with a Blood Angels upgrade sprue. Michael picked up Guilliman last night. He's converting him to Blood Angels. Nice. I'll let you know how Guilliman gets on this weekend leading my Blood Angels forces. I think it's going to be interesting. I think there's some matches that I'll definitely win, but then I think there might be some matches that I really struggle into. But it'll be a fun event regardless. And I have a video coming out on the Brutalis on Friday, so if anyone's thinking of buying it, I mean, if you're thinking of buying it, I guess you should buy it now if you want it on pre-order date. I've got a video breaking down the rules and stats of the Brutalis, so you'll be able to see you'll be able to find out if it's worth your money by watching my video that comes out tomorrow. Are you using the graphic I sent? Yes. I was thinking for a second. Yes, the thumbnail graphic. Yeah, I'm using that, Riziel. 100%. So thank you. If you hadn't made it, I don't know what I would have been doing for the thumbnail. It'd probably have been a ugly Ultramarines thumbnail, and nobody wants to see that. Literally nobody. I have seen some, like, there's a Russian website called Legio Models, and they do like Blood Angel's armor for knights and stuff, which is very unique and very cool. So I'm sure you could probably find someone will 3D print you some sort of custom armor for the Brutalis, which I guess would probably be pretty cool as well. I don't think the Brutalis is going to change the meta all that much, though, honestly. It's a strong unit, but like it's not game changing. I guess you'll find out tomorrow, right? Oh, Dirty Wizard, here comes the gifted subs, the first of tonight. Thank you so much. There we go. Sometimes that sound effect doesn't always come up straight away. I don't know why that is. Dirty Wizard, thank you so much. It's like the second of the month and you guys have smashed my membership target already, so much love from the gifted subs the last night and then gifted subs tonight. I should just paint every night. Get way more gifted subs than I do when I just make the tactics videos. The harsh reality of the situation. You guys obviously love seeing live. Just being here to shoot the shit. Good evening, Adrian. Thanks. Nice to see you tonight. Thanks for the gifted subs last night. I was tired at the end of the stream last night. I was trying to remember who all gave gifted subs, and I was like, my brain wasn't working. So it was like 10 minutes after I logged on, I was like, oh, of course it was Adrian. But there you go. If you got a gifted sub, make sure you use it. You can redeem it by linking up your Discord account to your YouTube account, and it's worth doing, I think. Gets you into our members only room. Pre-orders on Element Games. Use John's code to get 20% off. James, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, a few people did buy the new box using my code. Like 6 people or something. So that's super appreciated as well, because you know. So this is a melt-a-gun. I could have sprayed it, but I honestly think I'm just gonna. This is gonna be the worst paint job ever on this melt-a-gun, because I'm gonna blue tack it to my Tech Marine, because the Tech Marine gets a combi melta for free. He's already holding a bolter, so I'm just gonna stick some blue tack on this really badly primed melt-a-gun, just to make sure my list is fully WYSIWYG, because I think probably because of all the free war gear, I know that like some people have contacted tournament organizers recently and have been able to be like, hey, I don't have all the right melt-a-guns on this model, is that a problem? And usually tournament organizers have been pretty cool about it. So I could probably email my TO and say, hey, I'm going to run a melt-a-gun on one guy that doesn't have it. Is that okay? And they would probably say it's fine, but I also think that if I have the melt-a-gun, then if I don't have it on the model, I might forget that I've got it. I feel like I probably am going to forget that I've got it, but it's not going to hurt to just knock up like the worst paint job I've ever done in my life and then just blue tack this onto the Tech Marine. So the Tech Marine that I'm running, and the Tech Marine, I couldn't believe how much free shit the Tech Marine gets at the moment. Like he gets a free... What does he get? He gets like a free he gets a free combi melta, he gets a free plasma gun, he gets a free heavy flamer, he can get 2 free servo arms, in which servo arms are basically thunder hammers with no -1 to hit, and he gets 2 of them. So the Tech Marine is in a weird spot. I mean, you could get a thunder hammer on from 10 points as well. How have I been? The Brutalis will die before getting into combat, says Daniel, and I've pre-ordered him anyway. Somebody said that last night. Someone said that on the stream last night, Daniel. They were like, John, why did you buy a Brutalis? It has no invulnerable save. It will not be able to get into combat. It will die. And my answer last night, Daniel, was I was 50, honestly, because I already have heavy intercessors. I already have plenty Primaris Lieutenants. Let's be real. If at this point, if you don't have about 5 Primaris Lieutenants, are you even a Warhammer collector? Trying to think, I must have like 6 or 7 Primaris Lieutenants. So like I don't need Primaris Lieutenants, I don't need Heavy Intercessors. I feel like the Rocket Troops, I don't know if I'm going to run the Rocket Troops because I just bought a Vindicator Laser Destroyer, which is kind of the same as the Rocket Troops, but toughness 8, right? You could argue the Rocket Troops probably get more shots, the Vindicator Laser Destroyer is more survivable, so you could, I suppose you could probably argue that both of them they're kind of similar, I guess, right? I think if you actually mathed it out, like they're going to be super similar. It's like tomatoes, or potatoes, whatever you want to, you know, they're the same thing. They do the same thing. There's very little difference in them. Podger says 170 point Melta without Meltas is more viable. Well, my video tomorrow has everything broken down, Podger, and I spent it's probably like a 35-minute video, and I figured every other channel on YouTube is doing like a first look at the Brutalis video, so I did something completely different. But my video hopefully is better. I'm going to make a bold prediction. My video is better than all the other videos that are already out there on the Brutalis Dreadnought. My video is better. Yeah, my video is the best video, right? Like, I never like stroke my own ego, whatever you call it. My video will be the best. It will be the definitive video on the Brutalis. Check it out tomorrow, and then you can decide what you're going to do with it. You can decide how you're going to run the Brutalis, or if you're not bought one, you can decide if you're going to buy one, right? But someone said to me, like, why have you bought this? It's got no invulnerable save. I said I was honestly 50-50 on buying it. I think I ended up buying it because I figured people would want to see it on the channel more than I think it's going to be a great option, potentially. I mean, I don't want to spoiler too much of what I'm going to say tomorrow, but last night when I said I bought it because I think people want to see it, even if I'm not stoked about it, I think people want to see it, people want to know if it's good, so that's why I bought it. And somebody said, John, you're the... What was it? It was like, you're the hero. It's not the hero we want, you're the hero we need. And I thought that was very nice and flattering. I thought that was very cute, actually. So thank you, whoever said that last night. But yeah, I don't know. I'll break everything down. Like I said, I don't think it's going to change the meta. Watch tomorrow's video, and then leave me your comments. But I am sort of with you with 200 points with the Meltas is... To me, it feels like the way that's probably I would run it. But maybe you're right. Maybe the best way to run it is the 170 point version. And I think you have to run the Talons, right? Like, I think somebody said last night, Auspex Tactics said the Talons don't work for Blood Angels. I mean, when I was reading the rules, it seems like they just work fine. It just means that our wounding will be literally probably wounding just about everything in the game on 2s, rerolling 1s. So basically, if you have ways to buff its chance to hit, which we do from like core units and quake bolts and stuff like that, then its wound rolls become super reliable. Like hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s, rerolling 1s is a 97% chance to wound, right? Because wounding on 2s is like 83, and then it would be another 83% of the rerolled 1s, which is 97% chance to wound. So like the wounding on the Brutalis is gonna, it's arguably going to be some of the best close combat wounding we can get. But I guess you have to give up some like small bolt or fire. Jim says your math breakdowns are the best on YouTube. Then Jim, tomorrow's video is going to be the best video on YouTube, or on the Brutalis anyway. So thanks for that, Jim. I appreciate the vote of confidence. I spent a lot of time doing that math stuff, but I think as much as it benefits you guys, it benefits me as well, right? Because like when I'm mathing it all out and we're diving into it, then that determines whether or not I'll run it in a tournament as well. If I'm going like, wow, this thing is not good, or this thing is great at this thing, then it helps you make really informed decisions. So yeah, as much as I get a bit of benefit myself. Blood Angels can never have too many Meltas as Dirty Wizard. I mean, no army can, right? Both of those lieutenants. Both lieutenants do what? Sorry, I missed your question. Element Games is brilliant, says Dirty Wizard. They are genuine. I really like Element Games, and I honestly, like, some of my friends still buy stuff from Games Workshop directly, and I'm like, with Element Games, it's like 20% cheaper. That's a lot of money. Warhammer is an expensive hobby. 20% off is a lot of money, so I generally use Element for like every like if I can buy it on Element, I'll 100% buy it on Element. The only thing is they're a bit expensive to ship spray cans, so I usually try and support like my local stores and stuff if I'm gonna go and buy spray cans. And sometimes I'll buy the odd model or the odd box from a local store, but I use Element so much. It's like my favorite store. I mean, they're good to me as well. They give me an affiliate link and stuff like that. I wish I get a hold of Space Marine Boarding Patrol. Can use the Assault Intercessors to Primaris up my Sangre Guard. If you need Assault Intercessors, have you checked eBay? Because surely, like, I know personally, I have about 20 Assault Intercessors I'm not using. I actually found a squad of Incursors on eBay, I think. For like, I think Incursors, the box of Incursors is like 13 or... Sorry, not 13 or 14 pounds. The box of Incursors is like $34.99 here in the UK. And I found a squad of Incursors on eBay for like £14 excluding instructions. And I was like, well, I mean, I don't care about instructions. I mean, they help, right? But like, you can literally Google the instructions. If you Google the instructions for just about any 40k kit now, you can just download them. They're all there online. Someone's uploaded them. Sometimes you like find them on like weird Reddit posts and stuff, but the instructions, you can generally find them online. So like, if you need troop models, like the popular ones like Assault Intercessors or Incursors, or the ones that maybe were like in bigger box sets that sold quite often, I would totally be checking eBay, because honestly, I mean, I got lucky. I got Incursors for £14 down from like 34, so it was about 40% of RRP, and the only thing that was wrong was they didn't have any instructions. Let's see if you can convince me to pre-order the box, because the Desolation Squad that box has is a huge nope. Honestly, the Desolation Squad rules don't seem that bad. I know some people are saying they're a huge nope and that they look stupid, but the rules, like if you break it down, I honestly think the Desolation Squad would give a Vindicator Laser Destroyer a run for its money. So if you run a Vindicator Laser Destroyer, or you think a Vindicator Laser Destroyer is a good unit, then I guess like the Desolation Squad is a good unit. It is kind of similar. I mean, probably I'll have to make a video on the Desolation Squad in the next few weeks, right? Because that's the other new model and people want to know the numbers on it, and I guess enough people have bought it where like people probably want to see a video on it. So we'll probably make that video in a few weeks' time. Yeah, I think so. I've saved a single copy of the instructions of every kit I have ever built. That's probably a good idea as well, Rez. I haven't gone that far as to save all the old instructions, but yeah, I mean, you can generally find them online pretty easily, I feel, these days. We got out of line of sight shooting Primaris instead of jump packs. I mean, the out of line of sight part that they shoot is kind of rubbish. The main reason to take them, I think, would be to have 4 or 5 of them on top of a building with the super crack launchers and 40 inches away in cover, right? That's how I would run them. In some ways that's very similar to like a laser destroyer being, you know, like 36 inches away, just trying to pop stuff, not really involving itself in the battlefield beyond, hey, I'm on this building and I'm causing threat, and I will kill stuff because I do D3 plus 3 damage. So I guess there's multiple ways to look at them. They're not the unit that we wanted, particularly as Blood Angels players, I get that, but I mean, I don't think they're super horrible in terms of unit. I think in some ways though they've kind of rendered maybe some Devastator squads a bit redundant, which I guess again I'm not in love with, because I love my old Devastators and I have a bunch of them. But that's just the way it goes, I guess, right? Like Desolators are I guess they're literally the equivalent of they're the equivalent of Devastators, I guess. And they aren't the unit that Blood Angels particularly wanted, but I think there's possibly some play in them, even for a melee faction like us. I think they're strong enough, at least from what I'm seeing, that their damage output is good enough that they could be worth. They're 35 points a model, so you're going to get a 5-man squad for the same cost as the Vindicator Laser Destroyer, right? The Laser Destroyer is going to have like 3 shots, 36 inches, strength 9 or strength 10, and then it's D3 plus 3 or flat 6 if the Vindicator Laser Destroyer doesn't move. The Desolators are going to get 5 shots, so that's 2 more shots. One of the shots is going to hit on 2s because they've got like some sort of targeting array that lets one model hit on 2s. Then the rest of the shots are going to hit on 3s. They're going to be D3 plus 3, they're going to be minus 3, I think, and they're going to be 48 inches. So they definitely have good range. They definitely have good damage. They have a way to get, you know, one of the guys hitting on 2s. They can also benefit from anything like a Captain Aura, Chapter Master rerolls, that sort of nonsense, Dreadnought Aura. Whereas, like, I guess a Vindicator Laser Destroyer is going to only benefit from, like a Tech Marine. Did I order the new box? Yes, I did, but I said a few times already that I only ordered it because I figured you guys wanted to see it. Like, I don't know if I felt like it was the most competitive box I've ever seen for Marines. A lot of people were very upset with the aesthetic of the new rocket troops, right? Like, tons of people were making memes and they were super upset with the rocket troops. I'm not an artist. I play battle ready model stuff or whatever you call it. Like, I don't, you know, you're never gonna find me winning a golden demon over here, Robert. You know, I just play with what I think is strong for competitive play. So the look and stuff, when everyone was bashing it for the look, I didn't really get involved. I don't know if I think they're the best looking models ever, like the underslung rocket launchers, but I mean, I don't hate them enough to need to bash them or lose some sleep over it, right? So that's kind of where I stand. I mainly bought it because I figured people want to see it. But if it turns out that one of them has a really good use in game and it's really competitive, then great. Then I'll use it, you know? And you will definitely get to see it on the channel as well, which is, I guess, the reason that I bought it, right? It's the same reason I'm buying boarding actions. Well, is it? I mean, I guess it's probably not, actually. I kind of want to play boarding actions because I think it'll be fun and I want to do it for myself. But at the same time, I do think people will like to see boarding actions on the channel. So I guess my motivation for buying it is maybe a little bit different from a standard person for buying it. But that's my thoughts. Hey, Falls, good evening. It's weird they don't get Gravis armor. Yeah, they never really unify who gets Gravis armor or what, because quite often I feel Blade Guard veterans and people expect them to be in Gravis armor, right? And I'm like, oh no, Blade Guard veterans are just wearing like power armor, and people are like, really? They look bigger, and I was like, yeah, they do look bigger, but no, they are not wearing Gravis armor. It'd be great if they were in toughness 5 and Gravis armor, but then I guess you'd have to trade off some of that for them being slower. But no, people are always surprised with Blade Guard that they're not in Gravis. So yeah, it's a bit like I don't know what it is. The rocket troops maybe look silly. I'm sure. I mean, if you come back here next weekend, I might have them. I might be building them right now on stream next weekend. I mean, I'll run them. I'll run them for sure. And I think I'll try and put them on a building and just sit them 48 inches away from the enemy every turn and just shoot 5 super crack missiles or whatever it's called. And I'll see over a game if they all survive and how much damage they do, and is it viable for Blood Angels to run them, right? Like, I think the main thing for me is the 48 inches. Like, 48 inches pretty much covers the whole board. So if you've got a really tall ruin in your deployment zone that you could put them in, and they've got some good fire arcs, they could just sit there all game on a 2-up save. Possibly, you know, the enemy might not have that much that can shoot at them because you've probably done a bit of screening and stuff. And they could be good, right? Like, are suppressors 48 inches? Or are they 36? I think like they're autocannons, so they're 48. I don't run suppressors very often. I'm more of a whirlwind type of person. I tried to run suppressors, I always felt like they underperformed for me. And you get units like that, maybe in your battle style or your play style, they don't fit for you. That's really what happened for me in suppressors. James wants a bike librarian. It's kind of surprising that that there isn't a generic bike librarian, right? I want a Primaris captain on a bike. That's what I want. With the ability to give him like the same sort of options as a firstborn captain. So like Thunderhammers and what else would we want him to have? Like a Infernal Pistol or a Meltagun, and then, you know, because he's Primaris, have more attacks and more wounds. That's what I want, because I love my bike captain. I run him religiously, it feels like. I'm probably the biggest advocate of the bike captain, I feel like. He's someone that very, very rarely ever is not in my army list. A full Primaris bike squad would be epic. It's been a while since they've done like a command squad though, right? They kind of like moved away from that a little bit, I feel like. Like, I can't remember the last time that the command squad actually had like commands, because you used to get the command squad with like command squad specific rules, right? Like, it used to be in the codex, like, this is your command squad and it contains like a tech marine and an apothecary and a captain. It's been a long time though since I feel like we've had command squad specific rules. Like a decade, maybe longer actually. Does anyone remember the last time we had command squad rules? 48 inches on suppressors? Yeah, I thought so, maybe. Evening Pana, how you doing? Supercrack missiles are actually were actually what the missiles were called in 2nd edition. Even called them this in the mission book in the starter box of 2nd edition. Oh, really? Wow, I didn't remember that. Because I own 2nd edition. You can see it on the shelf behind me, actually. We always planned to play a game of 2nd edition on the stream at some point, but then we sort of started looking at the rules and realising that we didn't remember any of it, and that a game would take about 10 hours to play or longer, and we weren't sure that we would do it justice, so we have the rules for 2nd edition. I'd forgotten that they were called Super Crack, we just haven't played it in forever. I got my start in 40k in 2nd edition though, and back in the day I did really enjoy it. But I think it was more like, although I started in 2nd edition, I think I enjoyed the game more in like 4th. I think 2nd was very clunky and very slow. And there were certain things in 2nd edition that were annoying, where like armor penetration and vehicle turret rotation and all this sort of nonsense, where like vehicles had like side armor and back armor, and if you like, for example, like a bolt gun could never go through the front armor of an enemy vehicle. So if you had a squad of guys with just like bolt guns and chainswords, you just couldn't do any you literally couldn't do any damage, which I guess in some matchups became problematic as well. It makes no sense for Primaris to have different loadouts from Firstborn. I mean, in terms of gameplay sense, that's just the way it is now, right? I don't know if it makes sense or if it doesn't make sense, but I mean, that's just the way it is. Cue the music. Who sang that song? That's just the way it is. I think the way that they've been designing it, and I could be wrong here, is that they're trying to make Primaris Marines feel more like the Legions from Horus Heresy, right? Where like Horus Heresy, like every unit or every model in the unit has the same weapon, and I feel like that's kind of, I mean, I think those new rocket troops actually kind of like reinforce that even more, where like the sergeant can just have a rocket launcher, same as everyone else. Like if you think of a sergeant of a Devastator squad, he doesn't have a heavy weapon, right? But like in the Primaris squad, that new sergeant, he can take a special like sergeant upgrade, which is kind of how they're doing all these Primaris units, where it's like you get like one extra option. So the sergeant can take I think it's called like a Vengor launcher, but like for the most part it's just 5 guys all with super crack missile launchers, including the sergeant, even though you have the ability to give 1 unit +1 to hit, which you used to basically get from having a sergeant in the squad, that's just not how it works anymore. Primaris units. I kind of miss the customization, honestly, or I guess maybe a better way to say it would be I don't like the loss of customization. That's what it is. I was gonna say, is Reziel stopped betting on me? Is that why he's lost all his points? So yeah, my biggest hope, honestly, because people sometimes come in and ask, like, what's your biggest hope for 10th edition? Especially because at the moment it feels like you can't go on YouTube without seeing rumours of 10th edition. I haven't been looking too heavily at the rumours because they're rumours and I don't know what to believe, but my biggest hope is they get rid of the Primaris keyword and that, like, Firstborn are just on an equal par with them. So it's up to you. You can run the new cool Primaris stuff, but if you want to run Firstborn stuff as well, you can do that too. And that's my big hope, I think. That's what I'm hoping that will... Yeah, that's what I'm hoping it will be, right? Maybe I'm just a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Will there be a live game next week? I was thinking that there might not be a live game next week, and then we get back to it the week after. It's pretty much just because, like, we have 2 very young kids, and it's a lot to ask my wife to look after them by herself. You know, like, on Wednesday I would go to work and I wouldn't get home till midnight if there's a live game. And then I'm gone for the whole weekend to play at the GT, and then I'm gone next Wednesday. So I thought that maybe I'd just take this weekend next week to just make sure I'm here to help out at home, and then maybe get live games back. Maybe like 15th, would it be? You bet on me the first time I played Andrew's Iron Hands. The first time I played Andrew's Iron Hands, that was a wake-up call, man. Holy crap. When everything is hitting you at like -5, I'm like, okay, I am not prepared for this. What's funny though is Andrew sort of fell over at that GT. I know he lost 1 game against Knights. I don't know what his other loss was against. But I mean, I guess if you go one-dimensional with shooting, which Iron Hands kind of end up becoming, maybe you're a bit like a gatekeeper list, where like there's certain lists that you will just smash, but you'll get undone by like a tricksy list like Genestealer Cults, or I was actually surprised he lost against Knights. I thought that Iron Hands list could honestly beat the Knights, right? Hello Walter, good evening. I live for the day I can launch 5 Blade Guard and Emperor's Champion out of a Land Raider. It's a bit weird. They did release Primaris like Chapter Champion, right? But then they instantly Legends him. Like, I don't know what the thought process behind that was. But that definitely happened this edition, right? A few weird things like that have happened this edition. Are we talking Necrons tonight? I mean, I'm happy to talk Necrons. I looked over the list that I've got to face, and I basically read all your comments, Reziel. I think I know what to expect now. I think that I'm going to try and, as best I can, ignore the Silent King and kill everything else. If I get a good opportunity to engage the King, right, and I have like multiple units that can do it, and hopefully they can be in base contact with the Menhirs and not the King, so he can't make me fight last, then I might hit the King. But definitely going to focus on the destroyers. Try and take out. There's like a 285 point unit of shooting destroyers. I honestly think that's going to be the biggest threat. So I can Forlorn Fury into those guys. That would be a win, huge win, I think. If I can't, I can't, you know, I'll Furlong Fury into one of the other squads of destroyers. And I do have the Terrax there as backup, so if I can't Furlong Fury into the big squad of destroyers, I think I'll hit them with the Terrax. I think there's enough firepower coming out from the Terrax plus the squads inside to probably kill them all. And if they don't, then I guess hopefully on the charge we will kill them all, and I'll be able to do a 7-inch rerollable charge because I'll get +2 to my charge because of Gilliman, and I'll get the reroll charge because I'm running Icon of the Angel. So even the Terrax will get a free, I say free, I mean I've paid CP on it before the battle, but the Terrax will get the 7-inch rerollable charge. Chaos Knights with -1 damage and all the Dread Knight stuff is a tough matchup for our mono threat list. Yeah, that's going to be difficult for me as well. I don't have anything that really boosts leadership. I don't have a chaplain on my list, and I think possibly after this event is done, that's probably what I'm going to switch to. I really like the idea of that Vox's Spiritum chaplain, and I think if I was going to run the Vox's Spiritum chaplain, I think I would run him with, like, I think Rites of War and potentially even Soul Warden, or take Litany of Faith, because then you've got your Vox's Spiritum chaplain giving you like a 9-inch, I was going to say radius, so like an 18-inch diameter, and it's on a bike as well, so the bike's quite a big base, so you're looking at like a 21-inch bubble of Obsec for core, Feel No Pain against mortals, and use his leadership of 9, which when you're running stuff like Death Company, who have shit-o leadership like 7, I think is Death Company leadership, having a big massive aura of leadership 9 is going to be pretty cool, right? I mean, that's going to benefit I also think it's a bit silly that Sanguinary Guard have leadership 8, like, come on. I think they should have leadership 9, because obviously, because they don't have a sergeant, they have leadership 8, but I feel like Sanguinary Guard are like our most elite guys. They don't need, they should have leadership 9. They shouldn't need to have a sergeant to give them that extra leadership, right? The Primaris Chapter Champion was a super limited convention only model, but I agree you could use a Primaris Captain model. Yeah, I mean I think they should just release rules for him. You think Andrew needs to stick with his sister? Seemed like he did well with them. Yeah, and I mean, I think when Andrew doesn't net list, like he doesn't just pick a list offline, but he just gets super hyper focused on what he thinks is strongest or unbalanced, and he goes after that, and I don't think that's the best way to run lists. If you remove the men here to remove the flat 6 shooting. I don't have that many good targets for him to shoot though, right? Night of Ball, thanks so much for hanging out. I'm putting rights on my Librarian Dreadnought. The look on my opponent's face when I fly that into his guise and die will be epic. Yeah, I mean, you will die. Librarian Dreadnought needs an invuln save, really. Have you got an invuln save on him? Andrew should run the coolest things. No, Andrew likes to run what he thinks is the most powerful. That's just the way Andrew is. Andrew is a good person to play, though, in terms of, like, going to tournaments and, you know, playing against those crazy weird skew lists, because he always runs something that's crazy like that. So like I said, he's a good player to play against because you learn a lot when you play against these, like, oh my god, these lists. And sometimes, you know, like I've been to a few events where I finished above Andrew, and he was running like one of these oh my god skew list events. I've also been to events where I finished below him and he was running the skew lists, but I guess the point is that if you play those lists, they prepare you. So yeah, I don't mind that he runs the strongest stuff. If anything, if you know, if we're talking about like a battle report, like for filming on the channel a few days before, and he says like, hey, what do you want me to run? I always usually just say to him, like, just run what you've got is strongest, or what you think is strongest. Because I don't want to practice an easy game, right? Sanguinary Guard should have bodyguard rules because they are guard. That's a good point. I just don't know if maybe Sanguinary Guard were first released before the bodyguard rule was really fleshed out. Was that maybe the reason? And then when they were putting the bodyguard rule in, it was kind of missed or lost in translation or something. I feel like that's more likely what happened, as opposed to them just flat out saying like, hey, Sanguinary Guard aren't bodyguard, because They 100% are the bodyguard. They are the golden host. Let's be real, if it was a battlefield, none of the Sanguinary Guard would let Dante die. Every single one of them would jump in front of him and angel sacrifice if they could, you know? Killer took advice from Highland Phoenix about a 10-man Vanguard unit. I was actually looking at my Vanguard vets earlier today thinking, like, is now the time to try and... Because I was looking at what I needed to paint tonight, actually, for this event, and, like, none of this stuff really needs painted. It's all acceptable. I mean, it's not great, but it's acceptable. Like, I would get away with this at the event. No one's going to dock me points. I was looking at my Vanguard veterans with Lightning Claws thinking, is this the time for the return of the Lightning Claw Vanguard veterans? Like, are they good again? Are they worth fielding? Maybe it's something we'll try in the coming weeks and months. We'll try the Rites of War Chaplain with the Vox, and we'll try Vanguard vets with Lightning Claws. And I think I have like maybe 9 of them. So I'd probably be able to do like 9 combat squad them and then like add a 10th guy who's like a sergeant with a Thunderhammer or something. I think that's how I do the Vanguard vets. Necrons are one army that got a really big help from us losing Armor of Contempt. Yeah, and I think the destroyers, the shooting destroyers seems the scariest to me. Right. Berg says back on the Death Company. I'm just jumping about, Berg. And a bunch of Death Company that I've been painting up over the last, like, I guess, like, while Fury of the Lost was valid, or a good list, or a top pick. So yeah, I've got loads of stuff that's half painted and all over the place at the moment. So I guess like where I am at the moment with my painting is just like lots of stuff is half painted. I'm not sure what the goal is right now in terms of like what I'm trying to get to in terms of like what models I want to finish next. I think I'm actually going to go back and finish the squad of infiltrators next, because I had a squad that were like just needed a final wash and then transfers, but I guess I'm just putting some paint on some Death Company tonight so that they look a little bit better for this tournament. I mean, these guys are barely even started, right? Like, it's just base colors that have been slapped on them. You can tell here that it's just one coat of paint that's on these as well, because typically one coat of red paint doesn't cover over like a black spray very well in my experience. So like this will most likely need a few coats, right? Does the Necron list have a Royal Warden? Can the Locust fall back and shoot? I don't think he has a Royal Warden. Did he have a Royal Warden in the list, Rez? Not 100%. He doesn't have the... Whirling Fury into the Locust is a no-brainer. Yeah, I mean, if I get the chance. Sanguinary Guard and a Whirlwind would do with the score pick as well. Yeah, I mean, I think I've got the counters. Like, I think I've got what I need to beat that list, right? Are you running Bile Predators too? No, I had to drop the Bile Predators for the Terrax and the Voidsman and... So it was Terrax, Voidsman, Tech Marine, and the Stern Guard. So I dropped the Bile Predators to like squeeze all that in. I think I had to drop a couple of Blade Guard as well. There's a fallback and shoot protocol. That is true as well, isn't there? Which is a pity, because I did actually quite enjoy running the Bile Predators. Would have been nice to run them to a tournament. I mean, the problem I was having with though was by running the Bile Predators, I didn't have my Whirlwind, and I guess I'm a very dependent player on that Whirlwind. I've had too many games this edition where, like... Well, I played into Iron Hands without the Whirlwind and lost like half a squad on their Overwatch, because they can Overwatch on 4s and they can reroll 1s. And after that game, I was like, man, should I... You know... I guess Iron Hands are a very specific problem that you might have to deal with at a tournament, but I'm like 90% sure there's going to be an Iron Hands video at... Sorry, I'm 90% sure there's going to be an Iron Hands player at the event. If there's not, I'll be super surprised, because it feels like a lot of people jumped onto Iron Hands when they realised how powerful they were. Andrew just played 2 games, 500 points versus Guard, and 500 points versus Tau. Unlucky, Andrew. What caused the problems? I guess in both games. You're not playing boarding actions though, right? You're just playing 500 point games? Has anyone in chat actually played boarding actions yet then? I know there's been supply issues and some people still don't even have their boarding actions book and stuff, but did anyone get a chance to play it yet? I was looking forward to like figuring out a list for boarding actions. I kind of was doing one in my head, and I sort of think that I know what I would run. But I mean, until I play it, right? It's just like I think I know what I would do in boarding actions. For Bloody Iron Hand, suppressors into Iron Hands are good. Yeah, I mean, anything that denies Overwatch into Iron Hands is going to be generally pretty darn useful, right? The Iron Hands list that I was playing against had a lot of gladiators, and the -2 to charge that those gladiators can do on top of Overwatch is also very frustrating, or maybe not frustrating is the wrong word, it's just a very strong combo, I feel like. I actually like gladiators, I think, for Iron Hands like a lot as like a core of your army, or as a core unit. I think gladiators are very good for Iron Hands. Element says the 10th of March is that for the book? Is it 10th of March is the earliest? It's been rough here in the UK getting orders. My chapter approved got dispatched today, so if it comes tomorrow, then I'll get it like literally one day before the event, 2 months into the 6-month season, which just sounds completely mad to me. Like, how can I be getting it a day before an event that far into the season? I don't know. Sounds mad. Any Dark Angels going to the tournament? Yeah, there is one. And it's like a mix. Dark Angels comboed with... well, it'll be Dark Angels, Raven Wing, you know, the sort of standard shenanigans that you would expect. How have I dealt with that before? It's like... I mean, it's fast, it's heavy hitting, and then it's hard to wound. But I did okay against it last time. I mean, I think the main thing of playing Dark Angels is like focus on scoring maybe rather than focus on killing them, because killing those big blobs of OBSEC Terminators is difficult. Killing them if they've got a chance to go first and move all their units is also difficult because they got all the invulnerable saves from the Raven Wing. Dark Angels are in a pretty good state, I guess, right? They're one of the top in terms of win rate. If I play them, I mean, I think I did a video on the Dark Angel, the game I had against Dark Angels on the channel, and I did lose that, but it was very, very close. And I think next time, I mean, I know what Dark Angels do, right? So like, I feel like I can beat them. I don't think it's insurmountable to beat Dark Angels. I think it's probably hard, and you have to use your movement really well, and you have to take out the right threats at the right time. But I don't think Dark Angels are unbeatable or anything like that. Suppressor damage output is lame, says Wan. Yeah, I think so. If you move the suppressors and they only hit on 4s, then it's like, I don't know. I've run suppressors and felt very underwhelmed by them. And I guess that's why I don't run them at the moment. What do I think about... I missed that. What do you think about the new models? I've got a video on the Brutalis coming tomorrow, and I guess I'll make a video on some of the other new models in the near future. But yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to tune in tomorrow and watch the Brutalis video, I guess. The video does, you know, it's a full breakdown on the Brutalis, compare it against like a bunch of other things, work out all the damage values. It's going to be the best video on the Brutalis on YouTube, so you definitely want to watch it. Greetings, Stephen. How you doing? I think Dark Angels are top. Yeah, I mean, I think they're one of the top for Marine. Are they very top for Marines? Are they the best win rate? I thought they were like right up there. I thought it was Dark Angels, Iron Hands, and something else. I'm forgetting now. I try to not let that win rate stuff bother me too much when I'm going to tournaments, right? Like, any army should or can, you know, we have a 45% win rate at tournaments. Yes, that sucks, but like in a single game against a single army, you can just beat them, right? Like, just because they've got a much higher win rate and they've got better units and everything, you know, you could maneuver all your guys perfectly, you could make all your 9-inch charges, they could fail all theirs, you know. Like, I just want to focus on doing the best I can, I guess. What should be my tagline? Did Dark Angels suck? Oh, the video. My video is the best one on YouTube. The best... That should be the title for the video. The best Brutalis video on YouTube. I think I called it something like, is the Brutalis Dreadnought good? I mean, but the best video on Brutalis is... let's go in a... That's being a bit arrogant, isn't it? We could do it though, right? You guys gonna... I mean, you guys would have to promise to all click it and watch to the end and like it and comment the shit out of it so that other people see it. I mean, that's probably gonna get more clicks that... I mean, is it clickbait though? Now that you mention it, now I think my current title is crap and I should change it. That's the YouTube game? I suppose that is the YouTube game. I mean, I'm not under any delusions that I'll be able to quit my job and do YouTube full time, so that's why I don't get too hung up on like views or rumor videos or whatever. It's only clickbait if you aren't correct. Alright. I mean, fuck it, we can do it. All the other people that do YouTube full-time are now going to be like, who is this fucking jackass Blood Angels commander, and who the fuck does he think he is, saying his video is the best. I feel like that bit from like, you guys seen Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back? Where he's like, Silent Bob, write this shit down. You are the ones who are the... Hot take, the Redemptor's better. Is it? Is it? Guess you'll find out tomorrow, huh? I think my main issue probably is going to be, if you're going to run a Brutalis, you're going to have the exact same issue you're going to have with the Redemptor, where it's like, now I feel you're going to have to run Psychic Fortress, or something of similar magnitude or nature or something. It's like, I guess if you run Psychic Fortress, you can maybe make it work. John might be interesting, and it's not been possible before, I guess. What about, here's a list for you, right? Because like, I always say the biggest problem with the Redemptor is lack of invulnerable save, the biggest problem with the Brutalis is probably going to be lack of invulnerable save, right? What about a list that's like a Black Templars list, so that they get, because they can take they can take the oath that gives them the 5+ invulnerable save, right? What about a list that's like 3 Redemptors and 3 Brutalises? I mean, that's a lot of wounds at -1 damage and a 5+ save. And it's actually quite a lot of core as well, right? Like, if you have Rites of War or something that's going to benefit core, if you have rerolls that are going to benefit core, the Leviathan goes brrr, says Campbell. I mean, Leviathans are good, don't get me wrong. Could we expect a Mortalis Redemptor? I don't know. I feel like after this box set, right? Like, if you think of like the Strike Force Augustus box set as, like, the way I see it is it's, and I could be off base here, but I think the way that I see that Strike Force Augustus box set is it's like the Vanguard Space Marines that they released. Remember they released that box of Vanguard Space Marines in the middle of last edition, and it was like, I think that's the box that had Incursors and Infiltrators, and I think it had Suppressors, and what else was in that Vanguard box? Maybe like the Phobos Librarian / Phobos Captain, and maybe like the Reaver Captain. I can't quite remember. I think I've got that Vanguard box. Shadow Spear, that's what they called it. Shadow Spear. What was all in Shadow Spear? Do you guys remember? I'm sure it was like a squad of Infiltrators, or 2 squads of Infiltrators, a squad of Suppressors, and like some of the Phobos Librarians. The Vanguard, Eliminators, that's right, yeah. So Eliminators, Suppressors, Infiltrators, and a Phobos Lieutenant. So that's kind of what I see this box as, and I'd said before that I expected there would be like a mid-season box for Marines that was similar to the Phobos box, right? Like a couple of new units and maybe some variants on things that we already seen. And I think that's kind of what this is. So I honestly think after they do this box, like, I don't think we're going to see like another Dreadnought. I think like it's a one and done sort of thing. It's like, this is the Vanguard box and now we move on to something else. And I think like last edition when they did that, it was like that was after that they would do like I think after that they actually released like some of the Primaris lieutenants, like Tolmeron and the Dark Angels lieutenant. I don't know if he's got a name or if he was just an unnamed lieutenant, but that's kind of where I think it was going. Valrak said there's another Dreadnought coming out in 10th. Oh, really? Okay. Well, I mean, Valrak seems to always be right at the moment. He's been right on so many releases. Like, I'm convinced he knows somebody high up at Games Workshop that's just leaking him everything. Because he's been right too many times now, right? I usually try and keep up with Valrak, but I guess because he does YouTube full time now, he's been pumping out like so many videos. I can't keep up with him anymore. I maybe watch like 1 or 2 of his videos a week, and then sometimes get like an hour in one of his live streams. But like this last, this last month, I guess I've just been very busy with the kids and stuff, so I haven't been. I just haven't been engaged with that many YouTube channels, I guess. I'm more focused on my own channels than watching other people's, I guess. I guess that's the problem when you become a content creator. If you've got a full-time job, you end up just creating content and not watching content. Because people often ask me, like, hey, did you see this battle report? And I was like, no, I did not. Did you see this? You know, and it's like, nope, didn't see it. Andrew's always playing new PC games. Like every week, Andrew's playing a new PC game as well. He's always asking me. He's like, "Oh, I've got I think there's a new Company Heroes game released this week," and I was like, "Nope, I haven't seen it." I'd like to know if it's good. Did anyone play the new Company Heroes game? I played the old ones, like in the 90s. I feel like maybe. Gilliman can 1v2 Logran on Angron. So I don't know if I think Angron is probably stronger than Gilliman right now. Angron's like, I think 280 points and Gilliman's 300, right? Is that right? But I do think that Angron maybe just has a slight edge. Probably one of the reasons I feel like the edge he's got is his speed. And also Angron gets a lot more attacks than Gilliman. Gilliman gets like 7 attacks. I guess like he's on an older codex. Like I feel like if Gilliman was designed right now, he would have like 10 attacks or something. Because Angron gets like 12 plus 1 for charging. Gilliman has like 6. Abaddon will slap them all. How many attacks does Abaddon actually get? I played against Abaddon a couple of times when he first came out. Had that famous game where Mephiston tried to run away from Abaddon. Don't know if you guys saw that stream, but Mephiston decided he was going to heroically run away from Abaddon. He went to cast Wings of Sanguinius and failed it, and then Abaddon charged him and killed him. I was basically just trying to run Abaddon around the board and waste his time, but when you fail your Wings of Sanguinius cast, then Abaddon eats you alive. Do you have the 3+ in Van? He does, yeah. It does make a big survivability difference, yeah, but he's got a lot less wounds, right? Like, he's on 9 wounds, Abaddon's on, like, 16? 18 even? 18 on Angron, I think? Sorry, why did I say Abaddon? So, I mean, double wounds for 1 less on your Invan, I feel like that's probably stronger to have the worst Invan and double the number of wounds, right? In most situations, that would be stronger, I think. I suppose there's the odd situation where Gilliman might actually be like more survivable against. But for the most part, I think that Angron's more survivable than Gilliman. And then Angron's probably got an easier mechanic to come back to life as well. Gilliman's come back to life mechanic isn't bad, but I feel like Angron's is probably just more reliable. That's just the new codex, man. The new codexes are really strong. Gilliman should be a force multiplier, not a melee beast. He is a force multiplier, and that's why I'm running him to this GT 100%. But he is good in melee as well, don't get me wrong. I think he's generally pretty scary in melee, and the reason he's scary in melee is because he can reroll his own hits. And there's not that many characters that can do like rerolls of their own hits and stuff, right? Sang says I still play the company hero games. They're great games. No idea if the new one's good. Okay, well, I mean, I have no idea if the new one's good as well, but just curious. The game I'm most excited about this year is Diablo 4. Did any of you guys like Diablo? I really like the old... I played Diablo 2. That was my jam for like a long time in the 90s, I feel like. So, I'm excited about the new Diablo game. How's Magnus in melee? You know what, I've never had to fight Magnus in melee. I assume if you're asking like that with a question mark, he's not good. I don't often see Magnus, like, I've been to a few tournaments where I've played against Thousand Suns or I've played against Tzeentch Demons. But I don't often see Magnus. I'm more likely to see like the Keeper of... not the Keeper of Secrets, the Lord of Change. I've seen some Lords of Changes. I've seen the... is it the Tzeentch guy? I forget if he's got a name. The Tzeentch guy on the chariot. Like the chariot of Tzeentch. I've seen that a few times. So I've fought against... I think he's maybe like Chaos Fate Weaver or something. Is that his name? But you know, I've not had much experience actually fighting against Magnus, period. Be it in melee or be it in psychic. He's maybe just not that great, maybe. I don't know. I've played against a few Thousand Sun lists as well, and I've never had to fight against Magnus. I'm waiting for StarCraft to be free on Microsoft. Oh, right, because Microsoft bought Blizzard, right? Is that what happened? Maybe they'll make it free, who knows? StarCraft and StarCraft 2 are pretty cheap now, though, right? Like, I bought StarCraft when it was expensive. James, thanks so much for hanging out. We'll catch you later. Mortarion is one of the few Lords of War that can handle the heaviest hitters, Angron, Abaddon. Mortarion's survivability is really good, right, Rez? Like, he's got 3 up, 4 up, 5++, and then like 18 wounds. So, Mortarion... the fact that he can turn off auras in an aura around him. What are you painting there? This is a Sternguard veteran. StarCraft 2 is free to play now. I didn't know it was free to play. But yeah, I bought StarCraft 2 when it first came out, when it was like... well, I bought the collector's edition, so it was like $100. I genuinely enjoyed StarCraft. And StarCraft 2. I mean, in some ways, they were almost like the Warhammer games. There was all those rumors that went around that like StarCraft and Blizzard are gonna, like, StarCraft was a Warhammer game and then it changed. I mean, Marines are Marines and Zerg are literally Tyranids and Protoss are like some sort of elves, I guess. I feel like I was quite a good StarCraft player actually. Quite liked StarCraft. Played quite a lot of it, like StarCraft 1, and then played quite a lot of StarCraft 2 as well. But I haven't been following them in years. I know that Blizzard stopped developing StarCraft 2 even though it still had the competitive scene, and people are very upset about that. But I mean, Blizzard have been a bit of a weird company for a while. I mean, that's why some people are saying like they don't think Diablo 4 will be good. But man, I love Diablo 2. I bought the remaster Diablo 2. You know how they remastered it like a year ago or something? I bought that for my Switch. And like, I mean, I played at a good deal on the Switch, right? Because like the great thing about the Switch is you can play it while your kids are eating dinner, and my daughter honestly takes an hour to eat dinner. So like, you eat dinner in 10 minutes and you have to sit for 50 minutes and wait. So I played like a lot of Diablo while I was waiting for her to finish dinner. And Andonius drove his mum nuts playing StarCraft. You want a piece of me, boy? I remember that. Anyone started the new Horus Heresy, The End and the Death book? I'm quite a bit behind on that Horus Heresy series. I was thinking of starting the next book in the season, or in the series, because I've read some of them, but I'm not anywhere near The End and the Death. I did notice it popped up in Audible, so you can get End and Death on Audible now. And I do like I have a half an hour walk to work, so I do like listening to books. Like I basically get to listen to one chapter on the walk to work, and then one chapter on the walk home. So I get through Audible books pretty quickly, like 10 chapters a week, I guess. So I might jump in there. I'm in the middle of a confession. I'm in the middle of a Dungeons and Dragons book at the moment. I've read Dungeons and Dragons books since I've been like 12 years old, so I'm reading that at the moment, or I'm listening to that at the moment. Man, I wish I could walk to work. Yeah, I live in a small town, so it's nice to walk to work. Like, it is nice, but at the same time, in the winter when it's like freezing cold, it is, like I say, it's a half hour. It's not a half hour. Like, I walk pretty fast. Like, I walk like 2 miles. Probably walk like 3.5 miles an hour, and it's like 35 minutes. So it's like, it's a proper, like, I'm gonna say, am I wearing my watch? Yeah, like I'm wearing my Apple Watch today. So all I did today was walk to work and back, and like I filled all my rings, and I've got my rings set at like 746 calories just walking to work. Am I coming to London GT? No. I'm not going to any tournaments until my 1-year-old is more... my 1-year-old kid is more, I guess I don't know what you would call it, civilized, less of a pain in the ass. My 1-year-old kid is so much hard work, and just going to a tournament this weekend in town where I live, it's like a lot for my wife, so I'm not doing any like overnight away stay from home tournaments probably for like a year. We'll see. I mean, like, once he goes to sleep without screaming his head off for 45 minutes and driving you insane, we'll see. He's got teeth coming in, right? And like, I guess when they're teething, they're just, kids are nightmares. As I said that, literally my other kid just woke up, I think. Maybe she's still asleep. We'll see. But no, I would like to get to some bigger events at some point in the future. I'd like to get to Warhammer World again at some point in the future. I haven't been to Warhammer World in like 3-4 years now. I think 2018 maybe, or 2019. I don't remember which year it was. It's so long ago. So yeah, I'll get to events. I'm sure I'll get to events at some point. The guys from the Grots channel have been wanting to come and visit me for like, probably wanted to come and visit me for like a year at this point. And I'm just like, with the kids at the ages they're at, not ready for it. When is the London GT this year anyway? Oh, you're in the same boat with a 1-year-old. Well, hopefully your 1-year-old's not. It's funny because when you've got a 1-year-old, sometimes they can be happy as all anything, right? Like, you know, my wife could go out for the afternoon because sometimes I send her out in the weekend because she's got the kids all week while I'm at work. So sometimes I literally tell her, like, go do something without us, so you get some child-free time and you can like just hear yourself think without getting like mummy, 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 mummy in her ear all the time. And sometimes, like, I could have the kids for like 4 hours and it'll be the easiest 4 hours of my life. Everything's hunky-dory, the kids are all happy, everybody eats dinner, you know, there's no worries. And then other times you could have them for 4 hours and be like, literally, I'm ready to jump out the window, love. Please, God, take these kids away from me. I cannot handle this at all, right? yeah, I'm at the point where like I know that the kids on your own with the kids for any length of time is tough, so I'm not doing any away from home tournaments for a little while. It'll be cool to get there at some point, I'm sure I will. Stephen's going to Warhammer World in July, going to catch Elton John's concert at the O2. Oh, right on. I didn't even know Elton John still toured, man. I'd like to see Metallica. You know that they, I've seen them before, but they've got like new music coming out, new songs and stuff. I feel like Metallica must be in their 60s at this point, but I'd like to see them again. They had a couple of really bad albums, and then like ever since those bad albums, they've been doing a lot better. So, I only heard that new Metallica, like the new song out like yesterday or the day before. I think I only listened to it once. It seemed like it might be cool. I'd like to see Metallica again. I've never seen Elton John. Warhammer World is always awesome. You have to let us know on your next visit. Yeah, I mean, when I plan a visit, we're probably going to end up having loads of people come, because everybody's been banging, like, ever since I started the channel. I started the channel in lockdown, like during COVID, when my daughter was like 8 months old, and I like literally had nothing else to do but do Warhammer, right? Because it was like you weren't allowed to go outside, you weren't allowed to meet anyone, so it was kind of like a great time to start YouTube. And I guess people were watching a lot of YouTube, right? Because there's fuck all else you could do. So I started the channel when I had my first daughter and was like 8 months old in COVID. And so I've not done, like, we didn't, because she was my first child, we didn't do anything for like the year after she was born, because we're all so worried about like her catching COVID. And like a first time new parent, you're like borderline overprotective, right? You don't know any better, and you know, there was so much news about people dying from COVID or whatever, so it was just like, right, we didn't do anything, we didn't go anywhere for like a year. And then I think it was like the first time after I went to visit some friends, like after all that, right, I visited two friends. That was it, like two real life friends that I'd known for years. And it was I sort of felt guilty for going, because everything was, we were out of lockdown, so to speak, but COVID was still around. And I went and visited two friends, and while I was visiting one of them, he got a phone call saying like he's got COVID. And like now I'm like, oh shit, like what am I gonna do? So when I went home, I like lived in like one part of the house away from my whole family for a week. So like when that happened, like I literally hadn't done anything. I hadn't been to any Warhammer tournaments, hadn't done anything, hadn't even gone out for a meal for like a year and a half, because we're just like, didn't know what the hell was going on, right? So yeah, Campbell picked it up after playing years of playing Dawn of War. I mean, I guess that's a good place to start, Campbell, right? Like, if you like Dawn of War, you're gonna like Warhammer. It's the same. That's pretty cool. I don't know many people that have started that way, like from like moved from the video game. It's usually people have played the board game and then move into the video game, but that's cool. We could do a YouTube member special. I mean, I guess when I finally pencil in a date for Warhammer World, I'll let you guys know, and I imagine we'll have a bunch of people turn up. Maybe we go for the pub for some drinks and stuff as well. I used to go to the pub like a lot more often before COVID as well. I not even for like a lot of drinks, but like just on a Friday night after work, I'd go for like a couple of beers, and then it was like COVID hit, so you didn't do it for like, let's say 2 years, because you were worried that like you couldn't do that. And then I just never got back into it, so like I never go for beers anymore, I guess. Probably should try and get back into doing that just to be a bit more social. But yeah, I think it would be cool to let everybody know and organise something, right? It's been 1993 since Steven started. Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to remember what year I started. I just know the thing that got me started was that second edition box set, whatever year that came out, and I think it was about 93, 94. And I think the reason I picked Blood Angels, because if you remember that there was a painting guide inside that the showed you how to paint the Gretchen, and it showed you how to paint the orcs, and the Blood Angels were the faction on that painting guide, and I'm pretty sure that's why I started Blood Angels, just because they were there and on the painting guide. Like, alright, so there's that Melt-A-Gun painted. So that is the worst painted Melt-A-Gun that I've ever painted, but I didn't even base coat it. Like, I didn't spray it or anything. I just put some white paint on it. I'm not expecting it to last, but it will let me mean that everything for my army is WYSIWYG, which I think it's nice to have everything WYSIWYG at an event. I get at the moment, like, a lot of people are not enforcing WYSIWYG because of the Arcs of Omen nonsense, but I think I want to be WYSIWYG. So I'm going to blue tack this onto the Tech Marines bolter, and then I've got a combi melter. The Sergeant on the cover is the reason I play Blood Angels to the day. That's funny. It's funny how, like, those box arts when you were so small or so many years ago influence you in such a way that that's what you're going to be for the rest of time, I guess, right? Like, for me, I'm probably never going to stop playing Blood Angels. I don't know, even if I got a second army, I feel like if I'm going to an event 9 times out of 10, even if I had another second army that's maybe better, because arguably, I mean, I do have an army that's better at the moment than Blood Angels. I'm still going to run my Blood Angels, right? I'm still running them to the tournament this weekend. The pub scene has now died. COVID shut down my favourite pub out of business. Yeah, it did that in the local area that I live in as well. Like, and I went to the pub one time to, like, watch a football match after COVID, and I bought like 2 drinks, Dirty Wizard, and I got like no change out of £20, and I was just like, holy shit, is that how much pubs, like, so the pubs have, for the pubs to survive, they've had to increase their prices like 3 or 4 times to what they were before. And I was just like, wow, okay. I mean, at that point, it just means that if you're going out, just drink more before you go out, I guess. Dawn of War 2 was an awesome game. I never actually played the second one. I played the first Dawn of War, and I did like it. I played it on stream one time as well. But never played the second one. Craft Worlds are a pretty fun change of pace. I was thinking my second one might be Thousand Suns or Drukhari. I always have tough matches against Drukhari, and I always feel like they're really fast, and I like fast armies. I think I get the most out of playing fast armies. £9 a pint? Almost fucking... You almost gave me a heart attack, dude. £9! Dude, when I was 18, it was 95 pence a pint. 95 pence. That's inflation for you. Jesus Christ. I used to smoke cigarettes, and like, I don't smoke anymore. I mean, I say I don't smoke anymore. If we were on a night out and I'd had 10 beers at the end of the night and you said, John, do you want a cigarette? I'd be like, yeah, okay, right? Like, but I mean, I generally don't smoke. I wouldn't smoke when I'm sober, but I might smoke a cigarette at the end of like a heavy night of drinking. And like, when people told me how much cigarettes were now, I was like, how does anyone afford cigarettes? Because they're like, here in the UK, you're like 20. No, yeah, no, 20. I was going to say $10 a packet. When I smoked cigarettes, it was $2 for 20. Now it's like $10 for 20. I was like, fucking hell. I mean, I thought it was pretty expensive when it was like $2 or $3 for 20, let alone what it is now. Like, Jesus Christ, how does anyone that smokes cigarettes still smoke cigarettes? I mean, if you smoke, by all means, I'm not judging. I'm just saying, because I can't judge. I smoked cigarettes from the age of like 18 through to like, I think it was like early 30s when I quit. Maybe like 31 or 32. But yeah, I mean, there were the price difference was insane. But yeah, we'll make bug wins, don't worry. I'll let you know, Dirty Wizard, in plenty times, so we can arrange bug wins and we can arrange pints for after. If they're £9 a pint, though, Dirty Wizard, we're definitely gonna have to have some. We're gonna have to. How much is a pint at Bugman's? Please don't tell me it's £9. That's fucking crazy, man. That blows my mind, honestly. £9 a pint. Is Liverpool that upmarket? I mean, you don't even have a good football team in Liverpool. You've got Everton who are going down, and you've got Liverpool that are so far down the league that like you can't even. They had to extend the league, the top 10 of the league table to try and get Liverpool in there. And I mean, I don't even know if they're in there now, are they? I'm just winding you up. I don't even know if you like football, but I mean, we can try it, right? I never put somebody, right? The most successful club one. I mean, you've got Andy Robertson, who's Scottish. So, I mean, I kind of love you just because... Is Andy Robertson, like, the only good Scottish player that plays in the Premiership? I guess you could say John McGinn. He's decent. But, I mean, I think Robertson's a lot better. Oh, Kieran Tierney, actually. Okay. I like Tierney as well. But yeah, so there's about 3 Scottish people that play in the Premiership. I don't rate the guy that plays for Southampton. What's his name? Shea Adams. I mean, he's too inconsistent. He's inconsistent for Southampton. He's inconsistent for his country. But I like Andy Robertson. I mean, he's captain of Scotland, right? Yeah, I know Kieran Tierney. He's not been getting a game, though. Zinchenko's stolen his position. Or Zinchenko's stolen his game time, I guess, this season. I mean, I like Zinchenko as well, don't get me wrong. I like Zinchenko's attitude more than anything, I think. He's like, seems like a real positive person to have around. I like people that are positive like that. But yeah, I like Tierney. I think Tierney's a good left back. I think he'll get more game time maybe in the Europa League. But I guess Zinchenko offers something a bit different for Arsenal. Good evening, Trivial per shout. So what's the pint of what's the cost of a pint in Dublin then? I know here I thought like it'd gone up to about £5.50, £6 a pint, and I honestly couldn't believe it. I was like, that's crazy. I think before COVID we could get a pint for like £2 or something. Maybe 3 at more upmarket place. Liverpool will be back next season. What? I better not. I better not. Behave myself. It's good banter, though, isn't it? £3 in Weatherspoons. There you go. Weatherspoons never disappoints, does it? We still have a Weatherspoons. I haven't been in it in a few years, but they do Scotch and Weatherspoons, and honestly, the price of Scotch and Weatherspoons, I mean, being that like I literally live in the middle of Scotch country, is actually crazy. Like they have like really nice like 12-year-old malts and stuff for like $1.50 a nip. I mean, it's probably gone up a bit now, but like before COVID, that's what it was, and it was just like you could get absolutely smashed on barely anything in Wetherspoons here in Scotland. If you like the one that we have, that's basically like the Spey is like a big river where like a lot of whiskey distilleries are. I would say there's probably at least 10 distilleries on the Spey, maybe even more, maybe like 15. It'd be interesting to actually, maybe I should Google that, like how many distilleries are on, whiskey distilleries are on the Spey. But I honestly think it's at least 10, maybe more. Spey's a long river, like it's a 60-70 mile river. There's a bunch of distilleries all the way up and down it, and we live on an area called Speyside, and yeah, before COVID, like the whiskey in Wetherspoons was just dirt cheap. Like you wouldn't believe how cheap it was. You'd just be like, oh my god, like it's so cheap that like every time you go to a bar, you just buy a round for everybody, right? You would get more. For that £9, you would get about 6 whiskies. Glenmorangie is my go-to. Glenmorangie was my dad's favourite whiskey, you know that? It's not mine. I like Glenmorangie in coffee a lot. Like if you ever do like the equivalent of like an Irish coffee where you just make your coffee and then you put a dram of whiskey in it. I think Glenmorangie is a great whiskey for basically like, I don't know why they call it Irish coffee when they put Scotch in it, but that's what a lot of people would call it, like an Irish coffee. So I like Glenmorangie in a coffee. That's like probably my favourite whiskey for putting in coffee. But Glenmorangie by itself, I think it's all right. I like they do a Glenmorangie that's like in a purple bottle, not a purple bottle, like more like a maroon. I forget what it's called. It's not like the regular malt. It's got a red label on it. I had that one time. I only had it once, and I thought that was like a really, really good one. My friend Stephen, who actually used to play, he played Space Wolves. Haven't played him in a little while. He just pulled out this bottle of Glenmorangie one time and was like, "Here, you like whiskey, don't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, I've got this whiskey, this Glenmorangie, and there's like half a bottle left, and I don't really like it, so you just have it." And we're like, I think I was just round at his house at the time, and we were playing some games like maybe D&D or something, and I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, if you're going to give me half a bottle of whiskey and say you don't like it, that's not a problem for me. The coffee only tourist drinks. See, I would like at Christmas time, I always have like an Irish coffee. I also like to make there's one you can do with like Tia Maria or coffee liqueur. It's like coffee liqueur, Baileys, and ice. I forget what they call that now. I think it's as simple as that. Coffee liqueur, Baileys, and ice. It's not a bit like an espresso martini or something. Maybe not quite. Alright, I'm going to paint like a few more bits on these multi-maltas, and then I think I'm going to call it a night, in that I wanted to just cover all the white paint on these models so that there was nothing standing out that was like obviously the wrong colour. I think I'm there. Just these little metal bits on these multi-maltas, and maybe the wires, we'll call it night. Lafroig is my favourite. Lafroig's too smoky for me, man. I think because I used to smoke cigarettes, if it's a really smoky whiskey, I just don't like it because it reminds me too much of cigarettes. Which is funny considering I said to you at the end of the night I might have a cigarette, but like, I guess when I'm drinking whiskey, I'm usually drinking it from pretty sober. So if I just start there with like a really smoky whiskey, I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not a big fan of sipping tequila at the moment. I quite like Mexican coffee. If you like coffee liqueur, I have an amazing coffee liqueur that I can recommend. Oh, my daughter's up. One sec. Old Putney. Is Old Putney whiskey? I feel like I know that name, I just don't know what it is. Sheep dip from Fife. What? Is that whiskey? What's with the crazy names? That's why I drink spice rum, cheaper, inexpensive, and it all tastes the same. I like a good, more like a white rum. But I mean, I could drink white rum like it's water, right? Like some people like put mixer in it and all that, and I'm like, no, I could just drink white rum straight out of the bottle. Quite a big fan of white rum, actually. I think it's just, I've got a sweet tooth. I like sweet things. It's probably why I like sweet flavoured whiskies as well. Like whiskies that are like maple syrup or like cinnamony or like Christmas. You get a lot of whiskies that are like Christmas cake flavours, like sort of those rich like toffees and stuff like that. That's what I'm all over. Very sweet tooth, so yeah. White rum is generally one that, I mean, I don't mind spiced rum, but white rum I could just drink like it's going out of fashion, I feel like. Pirate Bay rum in the UK, it's so damn tasty. I think I've had Pirate Bay. It's got a green parrot on the bottle, right? Or is that another one? I got one when we were on honeymoon in America. We actually got one that was like, it was a Caribbean white rum, and it was in the hotel bar, and it was just like, I just want to go back to that hotel bar to ask them what it was, because I drink it like every night on honeymoon. You want to drink 89? Well, I mean, the white rum I'm drinking is not 80 to 90%. It's like 15% tops, I feel like. Maybe 20, 15 or 20 typically. Yeah, I think peaty whiskies are just, I mean, I think peaty whiskies are fine, but I think if I was going to drink peaty whiskey, I think I have to drink it after I've had a few other drinks. Like, I don't want to start with something. I once had, like, Talisker Dark Fire or something, or Dark Storm or something. Like, Talisker is already pretty smoky, and then this one was, like, I don't know what the hell they'd done to it. I'm sure it was called Dark Storm or I think it was called Dark Storm. I feel like it was Talisker, but in a bottle that was even darker looking, and it had a name like Dark Storm, and it was just like, hey, did you like smoke? Well, here, have some smoke with all the smoke. And like, as friends do here in Scotland, the guy literally poured me a pint of this whiskey. Like I'm not joking, like it was in a pint glass. It wasn't quite a pint, like I would be lying if it was an actual full pint, but it was at least like, in my memory, that was at least 3/4 of a pint glass. Probably what it was maybe like 2/3 of a pint glass. But it was definitely like at least half a pint of whiskey in this glass. And I was just like, dude, this is like the smokiest whiskey ever. And he's like, yeah, drink up. And I was like, okay then. You know, like there's no option here to be like, no. It's like, you are drinking up this half pint of whiskey. I'm like, okay, great. This is way more smoky than any whiskey I would normally choose for myself. If you can get Caribbean rum, they don't go below 80%. You know why people used to call it blind drunk? Because if you drink alcohol at that high concentration all the time, you actually literally can go blind. Yeah, that's why they used to call it blind drunk. So, I usually find if you go over like 50 or 60%, it's very hard to discern flavors as well, right? That's why they always say like to drink scotch at like no higher than, I think, 43%. Because if you go higher than 43%, like half the flavor is the fucking alcohol. So you actually lose some of the goodness of the scotch or whatnot, because you've just got like that sort of, I mean, for the lack of, it's literally an alcohol burn, right? Like there's too much alcohol. It burns your taste buds, it burns your mouth a bit. However you want to describe that, I guess. They dilute with water unless they're doing shots. I mean, I don't know if I would ever have an 80% shot. That sounds like a recipe for disaster. Yeah, it's literally moonshine, you're right. It's smoother than you imagine? Really? I drank this whiskey in the summer. It's actually, I'd say it's a whiskey, but it's like a rye whiskey from America. So like whiskey with spelt with like an E, right? And it was by this distillery I'd never heard of called Whistle Pig. And I've since read up a little bit about them, and they're actually like quite a prestigious brand. Like a bottle of Whistle Pig is actually can kind of sometimes be hard to get. It's like I think it was like £100 for the bottle, so like equivalent, that would be maybe like $120, $125. So it wasn't a cheap bottle. And the guy gave me, I said to him like, you know, can I try or he said like, you need to try this, it's Whistle Pig. And I was like, and this is my uncle, and he doesn't usually drink, like he's normally teetotal. Well, he's not teetotal, like he doesn't not drink, but like if, you know, normally he would have like one drink and then that'd be him. So it was a bit weird that he was giving me this whiskey, and I was like, yeah, sure, you know, I'll try it. And I said to him like, what percentage is it, or like, what do I need to know? And he was like, no, just try it. And I tried it, and it was like, I want to say it was like 50%, like 100 proof. And like, I just didn't really enjoy it when it was like 100 proof. And it, you know, like made me splutter a little bit. I was like, holy crap, there's like, what percentage is this? And he was like, oh, it's 50. I was like, right, let me put a little bit of water in it and try it again. And I put the water in it, like not much, like just enough maybe to take it down. Like I said, Scotch is usually enjoyed best when it's like 43%. So just like the tiniest little drop of water in there to like mellow out some of that alcohol burn. And honestly, Whistle Pig is a lovely rye whiskey. Like I really enjoyed it after I'd put a tiny little bit of water in it. There's so many flavors. It's so good. But before I put the water in it, I was like, yeah, not a... Some people like to put ice in. I just like a little bit of water. So yeah, I could recommend Whistle Pig. Whiskey is a big topic. Yeah, we could be on whiskey all night. I'm going to end the stream in 5 minutes though, because I need to get to bed because I got work in the morning, and then I also need to pack up these models. They definitely all have 3 or 4 or 5 colours on them now, so that's good. That was sort of my goal, to make sure that they all have like a bunch of different colours on them, so the army is totally WYSIWYG and it's all... What are the guys on the thumbnail? I was waiting for someone to ask Miguel. They are my Voidsman at arms. I use Tempest Scions. So I can send you the picture in bigger graphic if you want. So I bought, I was going to say, did I buy 2 boxes of Tempest Scions? I don't remember if it was, I think it was 2 boxes, yeah. I made 10 Voidsman arms. I think the Voidsman arms are legitimately good in terms of like the points you pay for them to what they bring to the battlefield for you. They're like 40 points. They're going to score behind enemy lines. They're going to get you command points from behind enemy lines. They're going to potentially do Nachmund or retrieve battlefield data with no chance of failing it. I like the Voidsman arms a lot. I've been using them, and they're also on the tiny little bases. I think they're on 25s or 28s. I think it's 25s. I'd have to check. I mean, I built them on the bases. My ones are definitely on the right size bases. But I remember at the time checking, their bases are tiny, so it's super easy to fit the 5-man squad in. Are you planning on doing debriefs on this tournament? Yeah, 100%, Felix. I feel like that's part of the reason that I go to tournaments, is to make the debrief videos, because I could just run the most meta list. I actually don't know what the most meta Blood Angels list is at the moment, because everything changed with Arcs of Omen. I know before Arcs of Omen it was like you just wanted to run 3 units of Sangre Guard, 3 units of Death Company, and like an Ancient, a Priest, a Captain, and maybe like what the hell are they called? Assault squads, that's it. Yeah, so like I think before Arcs of Omen, that was just like the go-to Blood Angels build. If you didn't know what to run, you just run that and you would generally do really well. So many people were running it. It was going, I guess, into some matchups it's just really, really strong if they can't deal with the melee threat. Into other matchups it had some survivability from the Armor of Contempt, and then also had some shenanigans in terms of like Wings of Fire / Unbridled Ardor. But like now I actually don't really know what the most meta Blood Angels list would be. Possibly if you're looking for the most meta one, you might want to just check like what Sam did recently, because he was running like a pretty meta list where he was still running 3 squads of Sangard. But the thing is, when I talked to Sam about it, he was saying that like he was playing on boards with like 14 pieces of obscuring terrain, and he felt like the terrain on those boards was light. And I was like, holy shit, Sam, I would kill for a board with like the event that I go to. I could guarantee you now there won't be a single table with 14 pieces of obscuring terrain on it. Like maybe 10, maybe 12, but definitely not ever 14. And he was saying that like one of the reasons he was doing so well was because he felt like the terrain was just enough. And I was like, yeah, just enough with 14 pieces. Like, that's crazy, man. Here in the UK, we rarely see anywhere close to 14 pieces of obscuring terrain on a tournament table. I've been to bigger tournaments as well, and I don't think I've ever seen that much terrain. I mean, that'll help. That would help a lot if you're trying to run like a meta Blood Angels list that need to hide all their units behind terrain all the time. And then I guess you could run like 3 squads of infiltrators probably. So like they can't get the jump on you because you've got all the deep strike denial. You've got all those units. You're hiding them. That's probably the way you would do it, right? I'm just going to paint a couple of belts and I'm done. You're not playing with enough. The terrain in my local store area is pretty light. I mean, I'm just playing with what the tournament organisers put on the table, Rez. That's all you can do, right? If I complain that there's not enough terrain, maybe they put 1 or 2 pieces on the... Oh shit, I just dropped a paint pot. I'm lucky that paint is pretty old in there and comes out pretty thick. That's just what they play with, Rez, right? And like I could complain about it, and they probably would change something, but like it's just what's accepted up here, right? Or it's just what's accepted. Because I actually asked them for this event, can you please not put Abandoned Sanctuaries as Mission 5? Because like if I get to the final table, I do not want to play Abandoned Sanctuaries. Because the last 2 events, Abandoned Sanctuaries has been Mission 5. And I was like, that's just such a disadvantaged mission for us, right? In that, like, if we play Tau and we go second on Abandoned Sanctuaries, like, if you win that game, it's a fucking miracle. So they did actually listen, and they removed Abandoned Sanctuaries from the Mission 5 pool, but it's on Mission 3 now. We still have to play Abandoned Sanctuaries, which, I mean, I hate it anyway, but, you know, I could complain about the terrain, but I think I just want to play with what's there, I guess. I don't want to be that guy that's like, oh, there's not enough terrain. Because that's just typically what's accepted here in the UK. They're playing from, like, it'll be on those UTC terrain maps. So they're kind of standard, so everybody, or all the big events in the UK are using them. So what can I do? It's funny that the US terrain uses the GW format, but the UK don't. Yeah, I mean, it makes... You would think it would be the other way around. I mean, I would probably love that. That would help me out loads, but I guess it's not the way it's done here. I think in the UK, some of the tournament organisers feel like they don't want Games Workshop messing with, like, how they've run events before or stuff like that. So I think that's probably why it doesn't get run. There's a certain degree of, like, preciousness, I guess. Would that be the right word? You ever consider taking a Vindicar? I mean, which one's the Vindicar? Is that the sniper one? I feel like it is. I've ran snipers, not necessarily the Vindicar, but I've ran snipers this edition, and I've run them with a Phobos captain who can get... If you run them with the Phobos captain, he can have a sniper rifle that can do 4 damage a shot because he can master marksman it. And, like, it's not bad, and into some armies it'll do well, like it will kill characters and stuff. But I think the thing is, like, if it doesn't work into said matchup, then you just end up with like 300. When I was running the Phobos captain in that, and the snipers, you just end up with like 200-300 points of stuff that's really not that effective. And you know what? I played against a Vindicar at a recent tournament, and I think with the Vindicar, it's a bit like running a attack bike with multi-meltas, right? Like, you pay the points for the attack bike with multi-meltas, and the attack bike with multi-meltas is going to move 18 inches, and it's going to typically make like an enemy character the nearest target, and then it's going to blow its 2 multi-meltas into that enemy character. And one of two things is going to happen. You're going to do that, and you're going to do 0 damage whatsoever against the enemy character, or you're going to kill them because you're going to spike, they're going to fail the saves, and then you're going to roll double 6 and get +2 damage because you're in half range. And I have done that before. I have done 16 damage to a Demon Prince with a 60-point multi-melta at half range, right? Just like made him the closest target, just nuked him off the board. And when I did that one time, I actually apologized to my opponent because I was like, sorry. You know, like, you just, like, this is like game changing. Like, I just killed your Demon Prince with a 60-point land speeder from full health, 16 wounds to him 1 turn. I was like, sorry, dude, I didn't mean to. But I think that the assassin, my experience is, like, if you play him, if you see him in a game, some games you'll just shoot, the enemy will shoot him at you every turn, and at the end of the game you'll go like, well, the assassin did 1 mortal wound the whole game, he was terrible, or maybe the assassin killed a key character. So I think the way you have to look at the assassin is, like, some games you'll just do nothing, but some games he could be really useful, right? And I think that's partly probably why I don't run him, in that, like, if I'm wanting something that maybe do nothing or something amazing, maybe I'll just run a land speeder or an attack bike or something like that. I feel like an attack bike has just as much chance of killing something critical as like an assassin. And I don't know, I've never I've never really played against the Vindicar or with the Vindicar and gone like, wow, that Vindicar was amazing this game. But I mean, your call, right? Alright guys, I am going to call it a night. Thank you so much for hanging out tonight. I'll probably be back at some point on Saturday night, right? Can report in on how day one of the event went. Typically I'm pretty tired after an event, so although I might be live, I probably won't be painting, I probably won't be talking too much. I'll probably come live for a little while on Saturday night just to check in. Hopefully we're 3-0 at that point, but who knows. I think that's going to be a big ask with my current list, and also with... I'm feeling like I don't know enough about the new season yet. I mean, maybe other people... I haven't got my fucking book yet. I'm literally going to get my book tomorrow or something, and then I've got the tournament on Saturday. So, I mean, that's not been great preparation for the event. I'll tell you that right now. But, I mean, they're just... The supply issues that GW have had in the UK have sucked. Yeah, so I mean, it's not great getting the book one day before the event. I mean, the book might not even come tomorrow, so I actually asked Andrew if I can borrow his book. So I have to borrow his Arcs of Omen book to get a quick look at it the night before the event. It's kind of... I did not predict the fact that when I ordered the Arcs of Omen book in January, it would still not be here 2 months on, right? That's fine, I'm going to have fun. I think that's my main goal from this event, is to try and have as much fun as possible. And hopefully have some killing from Gilliman. I'm really hoping that he does some work for me. You think they'd have enough stock before they launch it? You would think that, especially if they're going to do 6-month seasons. Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense in a 6-month season if people can't get the book for the first 2 months of the season, right? I mean, does it make more of an argument? Like, I've been one of the guys who's been arguing for like digital rules and stuff. Like, does this not just make more of an argument for it? Where if it's like 2 months into the season of a 6-month season, you don't have the rules in front of you? Like, should we not just be really digitally at this point? Who knows, I suppose. Thanks for all the good luck messages, guys. Yeah, I mean, if you don't follow me on Twitter, usually when I'm at the events, I like tweet like pictures or I was going to say pictures or like where I am in terms of like win-loss and stuff. So, I mean, I'll put my Twitter in the chat right now. So, if anyone wants to follow me on Twitter, it's just easiest for me to post this shit onto Twitter quickly while I'm at the event. I feel like I'm not a huge big Twitter user, so most of the time I don't really post too much Blood Angels. Like, most of the time I don't do much with Twitter, but at the events I certainly try and post up a picture or two of the games and like my wins, losses, or the scores or something like that. So anyone that's trying to follow along, you can follow along in BCP as well. Of course you can, but We'll all be there on Twitter as well. Keep us updated on Discord. Yeah, I mean, the problem with Discord is sometimes it's funny about like file sizes, right? For posting up photos, I don't really understand how Discord file limits work, because it's like it's different if you're on the PC. Like it'll let you share it when you're on the PC, but then the second you go on a mobile device, sometimes it's like this photo is too big. Blah 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 blah. It's the same with army lists, right? If you try and post like an army list from your phone, you can't post it from your phone. But when you just take that same army list and like put it into a text file and then post it from the PC, it'll work. So based on like a stupid character limit or something. So it's like, I don't know, maybe Discord just hates me. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter as well if you want to. I always try and post my links at the events on Twitter too. I think this is going to be good. Yeah, thanks so much for watching. Leave a like on the stream before you head off, and I will catch you guys. When will I catch you guys? Saturday night, probably. New video tomorrow. The best video on YouTube about the Brutalis Dreadnought. It's coming tomorrow. Keep an eye out for it. Watch it to the end. Hit the like button on it. Leave a comment. All that good shit. I appreciate it. I'll catch you guys in tomorrow's Brutalis video. Good evening. Peace.